Whoosh. Not a long one tonight, folks. We got a whole big day tomorrow and all that. Big day with the kids today, so I had to do what I had to do. Hopefully you are checking out the crisis report. Had our latest one, a lot going on over there. And now we are here, and yada, yada to the yada. Yep. All right, so this is one that's kind of nutty, you know. Evidently, the DNC is going to be offering things that you know are going to possibly change the way you do things. You know, your potential of being able to procreate and such. So yeah, that is what's going on there. Glad to have you. So yeah, they will have opportunities for free vasectomies and a little infanticide mix in. Lovely. Yes. Yeah, they'll have an opportunity to receive free vasectomies and other wonderful, not parental things at the United Center. Yep. Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, which is in parts of Missouri and Illinois, will park its mobile health clinic near the DNC, where you can sign right up, come rolling in, and get it a little choppy. So medications and other things will be available. I don't know if those are the only services. Maybe some other things. They'll be able to, get your head checked, or I don't know. There'll be a doctor there, and maybe they should, get some things checked out. Here we come, Chicago. Our mobile health clinic will be in the West Loop with the fund and the Wiener Circle. 19th to 20. Beep, beep. Free vasectomies and medical infanticide. EC will also be available for free without an appointment. All right. So, it's like the dog ones, like the mobile vet units. So, yeah. There you go. Thank you, Wiener Circle. Not too late to reserve your free medication, which will do things at Chicago's West Loop. 819 and 820 currently have a wait list for vasectomies. That's wonderful. That is great. There they are, folks. Those lovely ladies, if that's what they want you to call them, are ready to go inside and do the work. Full disclosure, I'm not against the vasectomy. I have had one. Yes, I know. More than you want to know. I know you want a TMI on that one. But yeah, we had 3 little childrens, and we thought that's enough. And so wife said, "Hey, let's go make it so you're good," and we did. But he was a medical professional. It wasn't out of a van, like a converted RV. He was a normal human being, a very well-respected doctor, did good work. I have to tell you, of all the medical things I've ever had done to me, it was probably my least favorite because it involved my area down there. But I got to tell you, if I were to go rolling in and I saw these 3 sitting there waiting there, I think I'd walk right back out the door. I got to be honest with you. I would not want them going down there. So, the vasectomy vehicle. I like that. The vasectomy vehicle. I'm your vehicle, babe. I'm your vasectomy. Oh, my gosh. Eager registrants forming a wait list. According to the outlet. Yes. Go on in there, get your sterilization, little Google form, little chop, little nip, little cut, little stitch. And they're ready to do it. There you have it. Pretty awesome, really. So here we go. There it is. There's the vasectomy vehicle. Oh my gosh! I mean, the thing about like all of it, like, do you guys want to have hot dogs or like a mobile pizza truck, maybe some fire, some oven roasted pizza at the DNC? No. Let's get a vasectomy vehicle rolling. Yeah, sounds great. Yep. Let's get the old. They should have one. You know, it'd be great if they had that, the vasectomy vehicle, and then right next to it was the Oscar Mayer Wiener hot dog mobile. Yes, that would be a twofer. You can go in and see what was and what will be. Looks like a nice, mobile unit right there. Yeah, I like it. I like that the whole, veterinary kind of concepts and ideas are now coming to mainstream healthcare. Yep, that's right. So check back soon if there's any cancellations. They're gonna get you on in and snip. So if you're seeing the other one, the infanticide one, you got to get that one online. So I'm not going to joke about that one. That's nothing you joke about. So this is what they're doing. All seriousness, think about it. This is normal to them. So, I'm a states' rights guy. If California wants to California, go for it. If Alabama wants to Alabama, go for it. If Delaware wants Delaware, go for it. If Kansas wants to Kansas, go for it. Let them all do their own thing. And if you want to be a part of that, whatever that may be, you can move there. Okay? But this is a national convention. So to have a couple of vehicles out there to perform medical treatments, of which are going to have very, very interesting, I guess is the only word I can put with it without, anyway. Yeah, I just, I saw this and I had to put it up there. It's a little too nutso for me, I guess. So, anyway, yeah, it is what it is. Super wealthy have a problem. That means the DNC have a problem. Yes, they are the party of the super wealthy now. Just ask George and Alex and others. The little man has gone from being. It's funny, the political leanings and everything have all done 180s. You had the Dixiecrats and all that of the 60s and 50s, and now they're it's all changing again. So the Democrat Party used to be the party of blue collar workers and little guy and union and yada yada yada. The hardworking man. And now they're where all the hedge funds go, all the rich people, all the actors and actresses and rock stars and all that. That's the Democrat Party. It's the party of money. Limousine liberals is a real thing. Did you know? Check this out. I'm glad I remembered this. Did you know that I think in the last month or so, Nancy Pelosi has made $10 million on her stocks. Yeah. That is 45 times what her congressional pay is. So I'm pretty sure on that one, if I read it correctly, you can go figure that one out. I think I had it on my, one of my places on the links in the description page. But yeah, the little guy is kind of going towards the conservative side now because they don't feel represented anymore. I'm a guy that has a family. I'm a guy that wants to travel with my family and show my kids the world. And today we're at the water park. I want them to have a good old time. I want them to have a nice, wonderful life that is filled with all opportunities. And what we're seeing now from this group of people is not really there anymore. I mean, first and foremost, price controls, which is one of the $1.7 trillion things that the other side is pushing as an economic platform, has been tried in places like the Soviet Union, Cuba, and other satellite states of communism. It doesn't work. In fact, it hurts. So now these fabulously wealthy people are starting to have an issue. Okay? So what they're doing is, this is what I like. It says history provides answers. French chateaus owned by the super wealthy. They logged visits from, political and financial big shots until 1940, when the names of the National Socialists of Germany big shots in that time frame began filling the ledgers, and then in 1945, visitor lists reverted to the other suspects, transition from one set of political overlords to the next, okay? The super wealthy are, first of all, out of touch, okay? They have gotten richer and richer and richer and richer. And how they do it? Well, let's go with the event that happened 4 years ago, the Rona. What happened? Well, they closed down a lot of mom and pop shops. They closed down a lot of restaurants. They closed down a lot of nail salons. They closed down barbers. They closed down little local gyms and stuff. And what happened? Well, they said, oh, well, we're going to close all those down. But you know what? Being in Jimmy's local grocer in downtown, wherever USA, you're gonna have major problems there. However, if you go over to the big box store like Walmart, you're going to be fine. So what happened? Well, they closed down all the little mom and pop shops and they kept the big corporates open. Why? Well, they knew that it was going to create an unfair advantage for the corporates. And why is that? It's because, the people running the show, as Carlin said, it's a big club and we're not in it. Okay? And that's kind of where we're at with these people. So it says the financial social membrane between the two classes is relatively porous, enabling the most ambitious and brightest of the poor to enter the ranks of the wealthy, or the top 10%. Then society maintains a minimum level of fairness that alleviates the pressure to do, bad things. Okay? So what is that? Well, it's always been taught to us as Americans and in the West that, if you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you work your tail off and yada, 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 you can make something of yourselves. Okay? I'm a product of this. My father grew up in very, very, very poor Kentucky. Okay? His father was not college educated. His mother was a homemaker. And my grandfather, I never met him. And the only thing I ever heard about him was that he was a really big POS. And the day he died, my father said one word. He said, good. That's all he said. Hey, your father died. Good. That's what he did. I've heard one story, and basically what happened was he was terrorizing my grandmother, who I never met either. And he chased them both with a car into the driveway. He got so mad. My dad said the only thing that stopped him was they had a big old pile of rocks there for some reason. They were doing something, I don't know. But they were hiding behind that in a garage. And my dad was basically tasked to try to protect his mom and his sister, which sometimes worked. Sometimes it didn't. But my father didn't sit there and go, "Oh, poor's me, oh." He got a scholarship. He went to college, and he figured out pretty quickly that he wasn't some dumb Kentuckian. And he made something of himself and started a family and did all the things his father couldn't do. Now, that's used to be the story. Like, there were stories about that all over the place. Dr. Benjamin Carson, if you ever heard his story, he grew up very poor in Detroit with a mother who worked her tail off and did everything she could for the man. And he became a neurosurgeon, and a very excellent one at that. In fact, I know someone personally who had their life saved by Dr. Benjamin Carson. He had a brain that was growing as a baby, but his cranium wasn't moving in lockstep with it. And so they had to go in there and alleviate the pressure. Well, who do they call on here in lovely Central Maryland? They said, we better get Dr. Benjamin Carson in here to do it. And he did it, and he saved his life. So, all those things used to happen. You used to be able to do all those kind of things. You used to be able to bootstrap up, work your best, save money. I arrived from, enter country X, and I had nothing in my pocket. I did it legally, and I worked my tail off, and I started a little deli, and now I got 10 of them, and now, all that was possible. If that's not possible anymore, and that's the trajectory, and it's already starting to really happen, what do you think people are going to do? You're seeing an idea of it over in China. China. They basically, up until the 90s, they were full-on communist. Okay? And then Mao died, and, God, what's his name? Anyway, next guy turned over. I want to say Zhou Enlai, but I know that's not it. He's from history. Anyway, oh God, Deng was his name. Anyway, he came in and said, I don't care what kind of cat it is. I just want it to catch mice. And he changed the system. And China started to grow. And China took on a more capitalist system. And they started to grow. And they were growing, and people started to make money. And all of a sudden, this middle class started to develop in China. Never been seen before. They had gone from, people completely broke and millions dying in famine and all that, to actually having a middle class. And what do? Well, they bought real estate. It was the way they did it. They don't really have a way for them to play the stock market like our Congress, so they did it during real estate. And, well, what's been going on over the last few years? Well, now the real estate sector for them is dying, and the banks are not giving them out all their money. They're ceasing to exist, and they're having major problems. Well, they're not exactly over there able to protest or anything. You can't see that happening here. I mean, the system that they're bringing in, or at least trying to, and Kamala would be an excellent step in that direction, and judging by her economic policies, this is where it's going. They're going to take away our ability to mobilize, or not mobilize, to be mobile in our growth and of wealth. So as it says here, government acts decisively to raise the state taxes on unearned income, and the higher reaches of earned income, and devotes some minimal attention to the basic needs of the bottom 90%. These policies alleviate the pressure. If the government's whole goal is to take as much from the people as possible, they're going to do it. If the government is spending profligately, and there's no way to pay back the debt or cinch up the deficit, they're going to require more taxes, more taxes, more taxes, more taxes. And what are they going to do? Well, they're going to go after people. You're not going to be able to pass on your estate or any money to your kids. They're already starting to lick their chops over it. Why? Because they're going to want it. They're going to say, you know what? We deserve it. We get it. You didn't build that. We did. Okay? So, you know, if everything is catered to the super wealthy, then the poor people are not going to happen. And we are really, you know, it used to be we had a middle class. Now we've got 60% probably, like a varying degree, barely getting by. Whether that's super poor on the street, can't make it at all, or on paycheck to paycheck. Somewhere in that 60%, that's most people. Then you got about 30% that are just above that are doing enough to pay everything, but they're not going to be able to put anything away. They're not going to be able to save money. They're not going to be able to really retire. They're going to have to work, and this is not, it used to not be the case, but now, I mean, people are going to have to work up until their 70s. Really. So you got that group too. And then you got the 10% of people that are going to be fine. And about 1% of that upper 1%, they're making basically everything. Even that 9% in between the 90 and the 1, they're struggling too. Okay? So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to fix things, right? They're going to fix it all, right? Everything's going to be fixed. And, yeah, no, it's not going to happen. So they've already unveiled this whole thing. They said, okay, here's her economic policy. Okay, finally, because they didn't have one up for a while, so they had to come up with this. Now, if you think she sat down and, I don't know, maybe she did. I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say Kamala sat down and thought about this whole thing. Well, this Harvard economist who worked for Obama said fixed pricing on grocery chains and other things is not sensible. It's not. It doesn't work. People find a way around it. I went to a farmer's market today. Why? Because I want good food for my family. And we eat a lot of vegetables and fruit. I got eggplant. I got apples. I got crap load of peaches and nectarines. I got bananas. I got that from the regular store. They don't grow bananas around here. But I got tomatoes. Man, the tomatoes were sweet. So good. We got sweet heat pickles. We got all kinds of stuff like that. The prices were elevated. They were. It was $3.99 a pound for peaches, which is extremely expensive. Can you imagine if the government comes in and says, no, they can only be $1.99 for the peaches? That doesn't take into consideration the farmer's work, the farmer doing everything, the paying the labor, the making sure the machines are doing what they're supposed to do, making sure that the crops are growing properly, the water, all of that. That doesn't take into consideration all that. If for them to function and to make it, they need to price things at $3.99 a pound, so be it. And there were people that were all over this place. They were buying the crap out of stuff because the food was excellent. The fruits and the vegetables were excellent. And I got for $45 a week's worth of veggies because I know what to look for. Got peaches, apples, nectarines. We got tomatoes. We got potatoes. Gosh, eggplant. I can't wait to cut it. This big old eggplant is just gorgeous. I'm the only one in my family that really likes eggplant. I like to put it with Italian stuff. You get a nice Italian. Yeah, you get the point. So yeah, this whole thing is bad. No upside here, downside. So she unveils it on Wednesday. She comes out. She calls out what she says is corporate price gouging. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm no way a lover of corporations. However, government is not supposed to have any kind of a thing on this. They're not supposed to be in there, dictating what the corporates do, really. They go and they can tell them, these kind of regulations and taxation and stuff like that. But I mean, look at what they do for most. Look at Amazon. Amazon doesn't pay any taxes. Now they employ a crap load of people, and they get it all vicariously there. I'm not going to talk about economic policy, but you get the point. The government's not supposed to tell the corporates how to run the show when it comes to pricing stuff. Okay, it's supposed to be supply and demand. Okay, we're going into a recession, whether they want to call it a vibe session or not. We're going into one. And so now companies are saying, hey, we have to price things down, so deflation is starting. How do I know? Look at McDonald's. McDonald's just went out and said we got a $5 meal now. Why? Because the $9 meal wasn't getting bought by people, because people are like, screw that. I'll take my $9 over. I'll get a pound of friggin' ground beef, some buns for $1, and I'll make, welfare burgers for me and the kids on white bread. That's what I grew up on. And there's nothing wrong with it. So she calls out corporate price gouging. Says, oh, yep, these people are terrible. They're richer than God, calls them out there. And then meanwhile, she's probably kissing their butt and taking their money for her campaign in the background. Big difference between fair pricing in competitive markets and excessive prices run related to the cost of doing business, she said. Americans see that the difference in their grocery bills. It's called PPI, Kamala. That's the producer pricing index, or inflation. It's basically the raw materials that create stuff. Well, all of them have gone up exponentially. You can see any economic thing out there, any charts, they're going to show you a hockey stick, basically going like that, right? That's because of price. That's because the Federal Reserve has gone out and urinated all over our currency, printed the crap out of it, given out stimulus packages, and it was both parties. It was Trump too. It was, for better or for worse. And people are hurting because of it. Wages aren't keeping up, right? And now we're heading into a possible, I think probable, but possible recession, which means people are going to be losing their jobs. So the guy's name is Catherine Rampell. She called it a disaster. Economic policy is a disaster. So she said it's hard to exaggerate how bad the policy is. Sweeping set of government-enforced price controls in every industry, everyone, not only food. You need supply and demand, okay? If things need to deflate price-wise, you let the natural market mechanics do it. If, things are too expensive, people won't buy them. So what happens? All right, well, they do a fire sale, and then you're like, all right, cool. I go to a store that fire sells some stuff. Okay, you guys ever heard of Ollie's? I go there sometimes, not all the time, but they have some good deals. Why? Because some of the corporations didn't sell some stuff, and now I get it on the cheap. That's a natural thing. Government over there is saying, hey, what I get? Planters peanuts. You guys, you can't sell stuff for the prices you're doing it at. And you need to keep the prices low. Well, Planters isn't making the money. Then all of a sudden, what do you think happens? Well, they go out and they start to get rid of people. First thing that goes is labor. Why? Because labor is the most expensive. Economics 101. So the FTC would be able to tell, say, Kroger in Ohio, been to them, that the acceptable price it can charge on milk is $3.79 for organic. But the dairy farmer who makes the organic milk can only make a profit if it's $5.19, and that doesn't really give him much room. In fact, $5.79 a gallon is what would really make him money. But imagine the government saying, nope, $3.79 is the most you can get. How long is that business going to stay in open? It's not going to be open long. It's not. So, this is what we're facing, folks. It's a problem. It really is. And, I mean, we've gotten to the point now where, like, the things they're doing on the other side of the aisle are kind of absurd. Price controls are absurd. They don't work. having a mobile vasectomy unit outside of the DNC is kind of absurd. Okay? The wealthy are getting wealthier and the poor are getting poorer. And if there's no social mobility, and that's what's being set up by the current government and the one that they hope to replace it with, which is just an extension of what there's now, it's going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to make it so people can't get the things they need at a reasonable price. It's going to make the poor grow. Why? Because we know history states that's what's going to happen. People are going to lose their job. When you lose your job, you're more dependent on the government. When you're more dependent on the government, you're not going to tell the government not to do stuff, right? If you're independent, if you have things going for you, you don't have to worry about stuff, you're going to be fine. You can say, hey, wait a second, I don't like that. I'm going to vote you out. And then what happens? I put the quote in the other night. When you get to a point, a Scottish economist from a couple hundred years ago, when you get to the point where the people that are voting are only voting themselves more benefits and things, money, services, items, when the population is voting that kind of stuff into themselves, and that's all they care about, we're not going to get the kind of leaders we want, and eventually the bill will be too much to pay, and we're going to be screwed. And that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of where we're at. So, friends, if you like this video and taking you through it, please hit the like button, okay? I see we got 231 here and I believe 83 on the like button. If you could do that, I would love it, okay? To all of you others, thank you so much for being here. I really want to highlight people like J Flow, who are members. For a couple bucks a month, you can support. It's less than a coffee. It keeps things going on, and yeah. Well, that's good timing. Seems Marfugal is going on right now, so you guys can go on over there and watch him and Dex talk about stuff. I actually kind of like Marfugal. And, you know, when I complain and stuff about some of the other channels that do the hyperbole thing, it's not who you'd think, okay? It's not Canadian Prepper. Canadian Prepper does great interviews. It's not Brad from Full Spectrum. Brad does some good stuff, too. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just saying in general, the red alert people, you know, the sirens and the screaming and the, you know, breaking every day and all that. It's like those stores in downtowns where they're like going out of business sale, but they've been there for 5 years and will probably be there for another 50. The going out of business sale stores. It's kind of what happens. So that's what I mean. So someone asked me about that, like, hey, what do you, or you know, and they weren't like mad at me or anything. Like who are you talking about? You talking about this? Like, no. Like, I got no problem with Canadian Prepper. You know, Canadian Prepper is going to Canadian Prepper. He's got a business going on. Honestly, some of the things he says and intel he gives her is good. It really is. It's no crisis report, don't get me wrong. But he does great interviews, too. Brad, Full Spectrum Survival. You know what? Brad motivates me. I'm going to be honest with you. I like to watch him because he gets me going. He makes me work out. And I like watching him going on the way home. Of course, I like Poplar and all that. So anyway, just if you're wondering when I smack talk a little bit of the red alerters, it's none of those people. So, all right, friends. Yeah, hit the like button. Be nice. Thanks to my mods. I think I see Nose Pickin' and Scrappy and Mamacita. I would like, as you are all here, to remember we have one common goal. Okay? First of all, people, be good to my mods. All right? They don't have to be there. They're not being paid. And they work hard. And to my mods, thank you so much for being here. And be good to each other. Okay? Not just the people in there, but also the people in blue. You are wrenched for a reason. It's because I like you and I trust you. Okay? All of you. And as it stands right now, everything is good. And let's keep it here. Okay? We don't need there's enough conflict out in the world that we don't need it on this wonderful little community that's growing. And it's growing for a reason. Why? Because we're the smart ones. We're the ones that can see the BS a mile away. Okay? That's all of you. All right? All right, friends. God bless. Stacking, sticking to the plan. Keep that head in a swivel and your powder dry. And I appreciate you coming by. PrepperNow. We're going to see you on the next one. God bless. Have a great day.